Every day, same platform, same uniform, same quiet nod to commuters. For 8 years, he'd watched thousands pass through Tel Aviv Metro without incident, until 3 men with backpacks got on the 9:15 train and everything he'd buried came rushing back. Welcome to Nishim Stories. Before we begin this thrilling story, tell us in the comments which city you're watching from today. And if you believe stories like this should never be forgotten, hit that subscribe button. Moshe Ben-David, that's what it said on his ID card. For 8 years, he had worked as a security guard on Tel Aviv Metro's busiest platform, Platform 7, the heart of the city center. 50,000 passengers passed through here daily. He looked 60 years old, but his walk was still straight. White hair, tired eyes, but always alert. Navy blue uniform, radio, metal detector wand, an ordinary security guard. Every morning he started work at 6 a.m., same routine. Check equipment, review platform cleanliness, wait for the first train's arrival. In 8 years, no incidents had occurred during his shift. He had memorized the structure of Platform 7. He knew every camera angle, every exit route, every security point. People thought this was just experience, but it was actually the result of professional training. Passengers knew him. "Good morning, Moshe," some would say. He would nod and smile. He didn't talk much, only made necessary warnings. "Please wait behind the yellow line. May I check your bag?" During coffee breaks, he would chat with other workers, but always general topics: weather, sports, weekend plans. He never talked about himself, his past, family, where he came from. Always a secret. Platform 7 was one of Tel Aviv's safest places. Cameras, metal detectors, X-ray machines. Everything was under Moshe's supervision. 8 years of perfect security record. But there really wasn't anyone named Moshe Ben-David. This was the identity of a man who had died 20 years ago. His real name was different, his past much more complex. His co-workers knew Moshe as calm and reliable, never late, never complaining, doing his job perfectly. But there were a few strange details. Moshe's observation ability was extraordinary. He could spot a suspicious person among thousands of passengers within seconds. Movement patterns, facial expressions, body language, he read everything. Metro Station Security Chief Avi would show Moshe as an example to other workers. "Look how Moshe works. He has a lot to teach you." Young security guard David had asked one day, "Moshe, you're very good at this job. Were you a policeman before?" "No," Moshe had said quietly. "I just like being careful." But the truth was much more complex. Moshe's attention wasn't accidental. He had 25 years of field experience. Terrorist profiles, suspicious behavior patterns, danger signals. He knew them all by heart. Especially during morning and evening rush hours, he would be careful. Between 7 and 9 a.m. and 5 and 7 p.m. were the riskiest times for potential attacks. Other security guards at the metro station would try to imitate his techniques. But what Moshe did wasn't intuition, it was professional training. He categorized every passenger in his mind: normal commuter, tourist, suspicious, no risk factor. He made this assessment in seconds and was ready to take action when necessary, especially when he heard Arabic-speaking passengers. It looked very natural, like just an officer trying to help, but in reality, he understood and evaluated every word. During his breaks, he would sit quietly and watch the platform. Never read books, never fiddle with his phone, just eyes and ears, constantly on alert. His co-workers found this behavior strange. "Moshe, don't you ever rest?" Sarah, the cafeteria worker, had asked. "This is how I rest," Moshe had said with a smile. In reality, he was constantly creating scenarios in his mind. If an attack came from point X, how would he react? If exit Y was closed, what would be the alternative? If there was a bomb at point Z, how would the evacuation route be planned? These mental exercises were a 25-year-old habit. Mossad training never completely stopped. At night at home, when Moshe looked in the mirror, he saw a different man. No uniform, no radio, but the same hardness in his eyes. The man he had been trying to hide for 8 years was still there. One-room apartment, minimal furniture, almost no personal belongings, no photos on the walls, no memorabilia. A ghost life. But there was a hidden compartment in the bedroom closet. Inside were passport, cash, weapon, and several fake identities. Emergency kit. Essential tools of every Mossad agent. 8 years ago, there was no one named Moshe Ben-David. Then there was Daniel Roth, one of Mossad's most experienced operatives. For 25 years, he had participated in Israel's most secret operations. Daniel Roth's story had begun in 1985. At 22, he was recruited by Mossad, went through 3 years of intensive training, language training, weapons training, psychological warfare, identity change techniques. His first mission had been in Europe in 1990, infiltrating PLO's Paris cell, 6-month operation, successfully completed. For the next 25 years, he had served around the world, in the Middle East, Europe, even South America. Each time a different identity, different story, different personality. His most successful operation had been in Iran in 2010. He had gathered critical information about the nuclear program, worked for 2 years without his identity being exposed. But his last mission had changed everything. In 2015, he was on duty in Damascus, gathering critical intelligence to stop Iran's arms shipments to Hezbollah, 6-month deep cover operation. His team had 4 agents: Sarah, chemical expert; Michael, technician; Eli, sniper; and Daniel, operation leader. But something had gone wrong. No one knew how, but identities had been exposed. Maybe informant, maybe bad intelligence, maybe chance. Sarah was killed first, in the hotel, bullet to the head. Michael second, on the street, bomb attack. Eli last, in firefight, under hail of bullets. Daniel had barely escaped. For 3 days he had hidden in Damascus streets, finally managed to cross the border. When he returned to Israel, Daniel was no longer the same man. The death of 3 friends, sense of failure, constant paranoia of being followed. All symptoms of PTSD. Mossad psychologists evaluated him. He must be removed from active duty, they said. There's deep trauma, operational capacity reduced. Daniel had objected. I'm fine. I'm ready for duty. But it wasn't true. At night he saw his friends' deaths in nightmares. During the day he thought every shadow was an enemy. Sleep disorders, panic attacks, social isolation. After a 6-month treatment process, Mossad had made its decision. Daniel Roth is being retired. A new identity will be given. Why retire? I can still work. Daniel, you've served 25 years. It's time to rest, build a new life. Thus, Daniel Roth had officially died, and Moshe Ben-David was born. The first months were very difficult. He would startle at every door knock, become paranoid at every phone ring. But gradually, he had started to get used to it. The Metro security job was Mossad's suggestion. You can observe people, work on security, but you won't have to harm anyone. The first 2 years were difficult. He saw enemies in every shadow, heard danger in every sound. But gradually, the Metro routine had calmed him. Small talks with passengers, routine security checks, problem-free shifts, simple, harmless, peaceful. This was exactly what he needed after 25 years of war. But his reflexes had never dulled. When he saw a suspicious bag, his heart would race. When he heard Arabic conversation, his ears would perk up. Old habits don't die. Other security guards at the Metro station would try to learn from Moshe. How do you notice suspicious behavior so quickly? Experience, Moshe would say, and careful observation. But it was actually 25 years of professional training, micro-expressions, body language, stress indicators. He had learned to read them all. His neighbors knew him as kind but distant, early to bed, early to rise, didn't socialize much. He would do his grocery shopping quietly, a perfect, ordinary life. But every night before bed, he would open the drawer and look at his old files, photos, maps, fake identities, Sarah, Michael, Eli, his dead friends' faces still in his mind. Then he would close the drawer and put on the Moshe Ben-David mask. Daniel Roth had to remain buried. For 8 years it had continued like this, until this Tuesday morning. Tuesday had started like any other day. Moshe had come to work at 6 a.m., checked equipment, reviewed the platform. Morning traffic normal, passengers at usual pace. But something was different. Moshe's sixth sense was giving warnings. 25 years of experience had taught him, when the air changes, danger is near. At 7:30 a.m., he noticed the first abnormal situation. A young man, ordinary clothes, but constantly scanning surroundings. Not a tourist, not a commuter. Seemed like he was doing reconnaissance. Moshe followed him. The man was noting all security cameras, exit routes, security points, then left. At 8:30 a.m., second anomaly. Different man, same behavior, this time examining all details of Platform 7. Alarm bells began ringing in Moshe's experienced mind. 2 different people, Same behavior, same platform. Reconnaissance operation. He reached for his radio, should call headquarters, but there was no evidence. Only suspicion and experience. No incidents for 8 years. Maybe it was paranoia. Toward 9 a.m., the third group came. This time, 3 people with big backpacks, disguised as tourists. Moshe approached them. With 25 years of experience, he began analyzing every detail. 25 to 30 years old, sportswear, big backpacks. At first glance, they looked like tourists, but something was wrong. They were very tense, constantly looking at their watches, making eye contact with each other, and their bags looked too heavy for tourist supplies. Moshe approached them. "Good morning. Can I help you?" "No, thank you," said one in English, but there were traces of Arabic in his accent. "Are you tourists?" Moshe asked, smiling. "Yes, we're exploring the city." But they had no maps, no cameras, and most importantly, they were at Platform 7, a platform not on the tourist route. Moshe's 25 years of experience kicked in. Body language analysis, micro-expressions, stress indicators. These men were lying. "Which hotel are you staying at?" he asked for testing purposes. "Hilton," one said quickly. But Tel Aviv Hilton wasn't on the metro line. Moshe began observing them from a distance. The men's behavior was becoming increasingly suspicious. They were whispering in Arabic among themselves. Moshe could still understand this language perfectly, which he hadn't used for 8 years. 9:15. Platform 7. Is everything ready? This is the last operation. Moshe's heart raced. These were definitely not tourists. When one of them opened his bag zipper, Moshe understood what he saw. Wire, battery, electronic circuit, plastic bag, bomb components. As it approached 9 a.m., the men became more tense, one constantly checking his phone, another checking something inside his bag. Moshe reached for his radio, should call headquarters, request support, but something stopped him. Bomb disposal team could arrive in at least 15 minutes. Platform evacuation would take 20 minutes. The 9:15 train would arrive in 5 minutes. Too late. What if he was wrong? What if they really were tourists? No incidents for 8 years. Maybe this was paranoia. But then the third man took something out of his bag. What Moshe saw froze his blood. Remote control, trigger system. This really was a bomb operation. At that moment, the 8-year-old Moshe Ben-David mask cracked. In its place returned Daniel Roth, Mossad operative. Moshe immediately assessed the situation. 3 men, big bags, bomb materials. Target, 9:15 train, Platform 7's busiest hour. He looked at his watch, 9:12. 3 minutes left. He reached for the radio but gave up. Bomb disposal team could arrive in 15 minutes. Too late. He considered evacuating the platform, but it would cause panic. The men might detonate the bomb early. There was only one option: use his 25 years of training. No one noticed the things Moshe took from his bag. Small radio, plastic handcuffs, emergency intervention spray, supplies taken for metro security but actually kept for another purpose. Daniel Roth had never completely died. He was just sleeping. 9:13, 2 minutes left. Moshe approached the men, but this time it was different. His walking style, posture, gaze, everything had changed. The 8-year-old tired security guard had disappeared, replaced by a professional operative. "Gentlemen," Moshe said in a calm but authoritative voice, "I need to check your bags." The men looked at each other. "Why?" "You didn't check before." "Routine security." "Please." One reached for his bag. Moshe knew this was the trigger system. 25 years of experience wouldn't deceive him. "Slowly," Moshe said. "No rush at all." Then he added in Arabic, "I know what you're doing." The men froze. "Who are you?" Moshe smiled. For the first time in 8 years, his real smile, Daniel Roth's smile. "Who am I?" It's too late to learn the answer to that question now. The movement came very quickly. Moshe grabbed the first man's wrist with his right hand, called the intervention team with his left hand via radio. 25 years of training had returned instantly. Enemy neutralization, bomb threat neutralization, area security. The second man tried to escape, but Moshe was faster. He tied his hands with plastic handcuffs, moved his bag to a safe distance. The third panicked, tried to activate the trigger system. Moshe's spray instantly neutralized him. 3 minutes. In 3 minutes, 3 men, 3 bombs, and hundreds of potential victims were secured. Platform passengers were trying to understand what was happening while security cameras recorded everything. When the 9:15 train arrived, the platform had been completely secured. Did this story remind you of something? Have you ever met someone like this? Someone who looks ordinary but becomes a hero when needed? Share in the comments. And if this story affected you, don't forget to subscribe. Because real heroes are always among us, they just emerge at the right moment. Remember, sometimes the security guard who tells you, "Please wait behind the yellow line," isn't just an officer. He might be a secret agent protecting your life.